This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun.
No. Y'all, just stop.
This is a sham.
Welcome to DBL. It's Friday, December 10th. I'm Jeff here with my friends Al, Erica, and Tori. Feeling good on Friday?
Yeah. I know you're feeling good.
I know one person is.
Yeah.
Thanks,
ready
buddy.
to do this.
All right, let's hit it. Jesse Smolette has been found guilty for staging an attack on himself. A jury convicted Jesse of disorderly conduct for making fake reports to police after he claimed he was a victim of a hate crime. But the jury sided with the Osendero brothers, who said Jesse hired them to stage the attack. After the verdict, Special Prosecutor Dan Webb said Jesse only heard his case by testifying on the stand. Let's take a listen.
Now that he's compounded his wrongdoing by lying to a jury, which they've obviously determined from the verdict today, he's compounded his misconduct in this city, and we'll let the judge decide what to do.
So the charge comes with a maximum 3-year prison sentence. His defense said they will appeal.
Yeah, compounding misconduct is basically code for because he took the stand, he's presumed to have perjured himself. Now, as opposed to looking at community service, had he not taken the stand, he's taken the stand and he'll likely see some jail time, if that's what the alluding to is.
I personally don't think he will see jail time. Do you?
A lot of people don't. They think that he'll still get probation or community service, but he got 5 counts, and if each one is 3 years and the judge decides to do it concurrently, that is up to 15 years. Now, no one thinks he's going to get that, but he did take an enormous amount of money away from Chicago, an enormous amount of resources, and also embarrassed people who are victims of hate crimes, because now people are going to be like, is that a Jesse Smolette, right? Like, it dilutes the problem all around. Again, this is one word: ego. Put him in this position. You don't take the stand, you don't do it. His lawyer, I bet you anything, said don't do it, but the narcissism saying, I can convince them, it's my story to tell. Now he's got perjury on his hands.
Yeah, it's the narcissism of thinking that you can roll into a courtroom and confuse a highly skilled prosecutor whose job is to take your words and twist them to make you look guilty. Going into court, people weren't really sold that you were not guilty, and this just compounded it. Yeah. And Jeff, you were talking about that there's going to be an effect on hate crimes. The police department, that's human beings with a lot of pride in that city, and they do not like having their name dragged through the mud. And they are going to take their pound of flesh back, and they are going to make an example of anybody that tries to embarrass their entire department.
Chicago people.
Especially the fact that it went and he pushed it to the end, even taking it into a court of law. I think he's going to see a little time, Jeff. I do.
Really?
I do.
I agree with you. He compounded the fact that it was a very trying time for America. It still is very sensitive. He used a lot of those issues in his statement. I do think the judge will make an example, but again, we'll have to see. I don't think
he was dead to rights. They had video of them buying the rope,
the check.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And he kept going. I think that's where the trouble's going to lie.
Ego.
All right, we'll see. So let's move on to Travis Scott, because he is addressing the Astroworld tragedy for the very first time. The rapper sat down with radio host Charlemagne the God to tell his side of the story. Let's take a look.
And did you hear any of those screams?
Nah, man. And it's so crazy because I'm that artist too. Like, anytime you can hear something like that, you want to stop the show. You want to make sure, fans get the proper attention they need, I just didn't hear that. I got music, I got my in-ears, but I just didn't hear that,
All right, so we need to get a lawyer on set, because this is a tough one, right? Yeah. A lot of people say Travis Scott's to blame. A lot of people say it's not his problem about the guards. I don't know in the court of law where this stands.
I don't either.
Well, they're suing a bunch of people. It's not just so you guys know, it's not just Travis Scott.
But that's the name that everyone attaches to everything that went wrong.
I want to ask all you guys, do you think this is going to be a slippery slope? Because if let's say Travis Scott's found guilty and he has to pay punitively, is this going to be an issue at a WWE event where there's a particularly polarizing wrestler that might cause trouble? We've seen a lot of fights in football games and stands like that. So are the people doing the entertaining also responsible for the policing of the audience?
I think that is responsibility there in certain cases? Yes, absolutely. I think I've always said this. The issue that's plaguing Travis Scott is the history that he had of inciting for there to be masses rushing the stage. He was arrested twice for it. There was a conversation apparently documented that was had before the concert to have this conversation. It's strange to me because Travis Scott also has been very vocal about people taking responsibility. For instance, when he had the interview, the morning radio interview, and he said that Mike Brown should have taken responsibility. So I think when we look at where our responsibilities lie, then yes, your actions, when your actions are very much repeated over and over, then yes, you should have to take responsibility for that. I'm just like really having a sensitive time with this conversation because people are defending him, which I understand why people want to defend him. I just think that there's examples of, like I mentioned, that radio interview of him saying some things that are now coming back on him in this moment, and that's where we're at.
I see it completely different than you, and I see it more like Erica. When I get a ticket, the fine line says I have a reasonable expectation of security and safety being there. At a concert ticket, that's what it says. Not only did he incite violence previously, he then tweeted, "But we're going to let the wild ones in," about Astroworld, meaning we're going to let the crazy ones rush the stage. Now, other than that, Live Nation's also been sued, security has been sued, but the problem with this interview is all of that can be shown to the jury. And if there's any indication that he did hear anybody crying, "We need help," he's now lied. And the jury's seen it live. That's called discovery. That is not a smart idea. So again, in my mind, you stay quiet until the court comes to you. You don't give them, the prosecution now has all of this material to use against you. We see him hearing him and stopping the show. Now you're saying to Charlemagne, you didn't hear them? Well, which one was it? So I would have shut up, stayed quiet, and just gone to the court case. That's what I would have done.
I think that's good advice. Speaking of rioting in the audience, Adele fans, I'm talking to you. If you want to see Adele in Las Vegas, thanks, Al. Next year, start saving right now. Tickets for her 3-month residency have completely sold out. After going on sale, they sold out in just 6 hours. Prices range from $85 for the cheap seats to a whopping $5,000 for front row seats. But you can still see Adele if you're willing to fork over a small fortune. So I hate resellers, but some buyers are reselling their tickets from $2,000 to $35,000.
Yeah.
I hate reselling tickets.
Awful.
When I'm a fan of somebody, listen, if I was reselling it, I wouldn't hate it so much. But as a fan, when I want to try to buy tickets, and I'm like, oh, they're going on sale from $50 to $100 to see Jason Mraz. And then you go there and you're like, $800? What are you talking about? And some corporation just buys up all the seats once they go on sale.
Right.
I hate that, and Adele fans aren't happy about this either.
I wonder if Adele's mad. I wonder if it looks bad for Adele.
Can you do this? Can you just create a secondary market? You worked in like the arena.
What do you mean, can you do it?
Can you?
Yeah,
I think yes.
I mean, it just seems like you're going to eventually price out your fans because even a diehard fan can't pay $35.
Well, what generally happens is you get, I mean, the tickets didn't start off cheap, nor should they have.
Right,
I mean, the tickets started, entry price started a couple hundred?
$85 for cheap seats of $5,000.
To $5,000,
right.
Which honestly seems on par for Adele residency. When someone comes in and buys up all the seats and then they resell, then yes, that is a third party. That's how this works. We generally or historically have called it scalping.
Yep.
But now it's, all electronic, and that's how people do it. Now you get to, like, for instance, I just told you I took my brother we sat courtside at the Nuggets-Bulls game. Now, there's a hack. You wait for the show to start or the game to start, and then you buy the tickets, and they are significantly cheaper.
Is that what you did?
Yes. I wasn't going to pay full price for courtside. Are you kidding me?
The fact that they just don't lower them before, and they're willing to eat that because they make so much money. Like, if someone buys them, oh well. If not, oh well. Adele needs to make her money too. She's making $2 million a show, 3 shows a week. In total, around $100 million for her 3-month residency.
Dang.
Get it, girl.
And also, we asked, is it worth it? It's like it's worth whatever somebody somebody's willing to pay. And if somebody's got $35,000 and they're her biggest fan and it's worth it, then it's a
But it does reflect on the band. Like Eagles I wanted to go to, and they had priced it out of our range. It was like $3,000, $4,000 for a seat. And I'm like, that reflects on my favorite band because you're not one of the people. Like a rock and roll is supposed to be like one of the people, and now you're like, you got to be Elon Musk to attend Rolling in the Deep.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What does Billy Joel do?
Oh, he leaves the front open for real fans, the front row. And you were part of it,
I was part of it. Got free tickets.
He takes the real fans and saves the front row and brings them to the front.
What, just because you've got money, you're not a real fan?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Said it best. Coming up on DBL, Cheech Marin from Cheech and Chong stopped by. He explained how he got his infamous name. And the reboot of Sex and the City premiered last night.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
right. Today's the day. You know we're talking about it. That's next.
Closed captioning provided by
Talking a little bit more about Travis Scott and how his Charlemagne the God interview. You know what happens when you're famous? You've thought you're so big and important that you keep going and be ambitious, and then when you get in trouble, you think I can use my fame to get out of it, but you've actually backfired on yourself. That's a problem. Major problem. And
I believe it.
It's literally out there.
Right.
oh, we're not saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't say who.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Big character.
Okay.
Let's not spoil it.
Yeah. No.
Big spoiler alert, if you didn't see Sex and the City last night, someone dies on a Peloton, and Peloton had to respond.
He wasn't on the Peloton. He just gotten off.
But did it start hurting on the Peloton?
No.
I guess you're right. You see him with the music, it makes you feel like,
Yeah.
I guess you're right. It's good though, I liked it. I like Sex and the City. And they definitely told you what happened to Samantha.
Yes.
It definitely tells you what happened to Samantha.
Yesterday was just a terrible day.
Yeah, it was it was quite sad. It's a major character.
You watched the whole series?
Well, I did. I did watch the whole series, and then I watched the first 2 episodes.
When we say series, let's explain. Is it 10
No.
episodes?
Oh.
Yeah, how long is this
No,
series?
I thought it
10,
was
10.
horrendous.
Yes,
So it's 10 1-hour
didn't you like about
series.
it?
Okay.
It was cringeworthy, the dialogue, the whole Miranda character and that experience. I thought it
with
was
the braids, that was
cringeworthy.
really
It was
bad.
so terrible for me.
I think they were trying to get a lot in, but I thought it was a good example. Actually, everybody watch it, so you know when you're woke.
It's true. Yeah. And Sarah Ramirez plays their first non-cisgendered role, and she's a podcast, and she does a great job. She was on Grey's Anatomy, and she is great. But some people did feel cringy a bit. It's a bit woke. I'll be honest with you. It's a bit woke.
I don't think it was woke. I think it was pointing out
How unwoke everybody.
Yeah, I thought I'd never win.
Welcome back to DBL, and just like that, Peloton has crashed. How's for you, buddy? How's for you? The Sex and the City reboot premieres sent the exercise company tumbling this week. For those who haven't watched the show, don't worry. We won't reveal too many spoilers here, but there is a shocking scene that has put Peloton on blast. The scene in question shows a beloved character dying. Again, we're not going to tell you who, while working out on their popular exercise bike. Peloton said they knew their product was going to be featured in the show, but not during a character's death.
That's way
Maybe
different.
an important note. To
Yeah,
the
big
That's on the
difference.
lawyer. Yeah.
Following the backlash, the company released a statement saying riding their Peloton bike may have even helped delay their cardiac event, and we have actually censored that statement a bit, but we don't want to spoil it for you. We could just left it out there. But here, so one of the characters died on a Peloton bike. Let's just, period. What do you guys think?
Well, he wasn't actually on the bike
Oh, okay. Don't get
at
too
the
detailed.
time of the death.
Say genders.
They weren't. What in the hell are these people thinking? Like the writers, the creator, I am so upset. I am so upset. I went from like the first 10 minutes, I was just all in and smiley and like, yeah, and you know, like really feeling it. And then I'm like, my life has been destroyed today. Anthony came in and he looked at me and he's like, what happened? And I was like,
you cried for?
Yes!
Yeah, it's a big enough character.
Really?
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm with Erica.
Wait, so you were crying because you like Peloton too. I didn't know what you were crying about.
She also has stock in Peloton, so that went down.
She was so devastated. I will say this, it's a strong character, so someone we're invested in, but it's a great idea for the show. It's a great plot point. It takes you to high stakes right away. You get to see movement in other ways. You get to see grief. You get to see what happens. It's a smart move for the show, but it's devastating for the viewers. Devastating.
It's not a great move for the show.
I know, she's really sad. It is
what
sad.
About for Peloton stockholders? As somebody that didn't watch it, but might have stock in Peloton.
Are you saying you have stock
I think it's such a strange place that we're at, where I remember that with, it was called Dogecoin or whatever, like when Elon Musk went on SNL,
Dogecoin, yeah.
The stock price was dependent on whether he mentioned it in the monologue. These like weird things where like
Peloton,
entertainment is now affecting.
I'm hearing in my ear Peloton did drop 11%.
Okay, so I'm not a business advisor at all.
Really?
But, yeah, surprise. Spoiler alert. But I would snatch up that stock right now. Because remember last time it dropped, we did the story
with
about
the buying the bike for your wife. If
yeah,
people didn't
like it, it dropped. Guess what? Not even days later, not weeks later, days later, it shot all the way back up. So if it's going to fall now, trust me, that's a huge advertising point for them. Even though people think it's negative because it's associated with someone dying, who will remain unnamed, I think it's good advertising for them.
Mm-hmm. We've just said it 10 times.
Yeah. What?
Peloton.
No, I'm just going to give you one more. Okay. Maybe they'll send us a free bike. We'll be right back.
Send it.
We all know that
However you're celebrating, make DBL a part of your holiday cheer.
I can tell she's feeling something.
Blush for Alfonso Girl.
This is the most wonderful time of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. DBL is always all new every day.
On December 3rd, Mariah Carey's hit single, All I Want for Christmas Is You, was certified diamond by the Recording Industry Association of America, making it the first holiday single to earn the distinction. Carey's Christmas hit usually begins making its way up the music charts around late October, according to Last.fm listenership data from the past 3 years. But does that mean that the holiday hit gets the most plays on streaming apps during the Christmas season? Verify reached out to these sources to get an answer, and drumroll please, it's true. All I Want for Christmas Is You is the most streamed holiday song, according to music streaming app data from Apple Music, Amazon Music, Billboard, Pandora, and Spotify. According to Amazon Music, global streams on their app for this song are up 46% in 2021 when compared to this time last year. It's also one of the most requested holiday songs on Amazon Music via Alexa so far this year. According to Spotify data, the song tops its Christmas hits list and is the most popular song on Carey's artist profile with nearly 1 billion streams overall. It's also my all-time favorite Christmas song, and I may or may not dance around the table to it every year with my family. With your Fast Fact, I'm Ariane Till.
You know him best as half of the comedy duo Cheech and Chong, and we were thrilled to sit down with the hilarious Cheech Marin. Let's check it out.
Before we get to your new projects, which we're all very excited about, the world knows you as Cheech, but your real name, and I bet a lot of our viewers do not know this, your real name is Richard. So out of curiosity, does anyone ever call you Richard or Rich? How did Cheech come about?
The Cheech name came along because when I was a little baby and brought home from the hospital and put in the crib, my uncle, Bono, looked into the crib and in Spanish he said, "Ay, parece un chicharrón." Looks like a little chicharrón. I don't know if you know what chicharrones are, you know, like deep fried pig skins. So when Tommy and I, Chong, were trying to think of a name to call us, he said, "Well, do you have a nickname?" And so he said, "Well, in my family, I'm known as Cheech." And he goes, "Cheech." Cheech and Chong, Cheech and Chong. And it was never Chong and Cheech. It was always Cheech and Chong because that sounded better.
It does sound better.
The rhythm of it, so we were always Cheech and Chong.
Speaking of Chong as well, Cheech, how is Tommy Chong doing? And we would love to know if you can let us know, what is the crazy experience you guys have ever had together?
We were always busted at the border, usually going into Canada. Whoa. For some reason, because we've been on the road forever. We had different bags with us, and they would find weed on us.
Of course, right.
And it happened more than a bunch of times. And they would look at it and they, all right, get out of here, Cheech and Chong. It's only a joint.
It's so Canadian. All right, this year marks the 50th anniversary of Cheech and Chong. Did you ever expect, for real, like in your heart, to be where you are now? And what was your vision back then of where you'd be 50 years ago? Because, I mean, coolest guy in the world, right?
We had split up for 20 years, got back together, and another 10 years of on stage and TV and everything success, even after he went to jail too, you know. And so we have all these things against us, but here we are still, you know, in the public eye and beloved.
Yes,
that's the best part of it.
Yep,
We're beloved wherever we go. So that's, wow, cool.
Everybody,
even though he's a criminal.
Everyone loves you guys. Speaking of partners, you and Don Johnson played investigative partners in Nash Bridges back in the early 90s, 2000s. What was it like coming back for a movie reboot, and how have you guys changed from then till now?
Nickel right on Kearney. Are you going to let some app tell us how to do a car chase?
A little slower, but not much. But we haven't lost our timing that we had together. You know, it was the same thing with Chong. We were just meant to be together. And with Tommy and Don, easily, because I knew Don Johnson for, well, I don't know, maybe 10 years before Miami Vice. We were young actors, bachelor actors in Hollywood together. Wow. So those kind of guys found themselves at the same bar at 2 o'clock in the morning all the time.
So we got to talk about your Netflix animation, Maya and the Three, where you play Hira and Can, the gods of wind and storm. So you play two gods.
Yeah.
You say that you like playing the sidekick. So what was it like playing a god, let alone two?
Well, one of them has to be the sidekick. I think it was Can. Hira was the alpha, and then Can was the sidekick, I think, you know, because he had all the best lines.
I
don't know what
he said he's Khan, the god of wind.
Or all the best wind sounds, you know. He was the sidekick. I do like playing sidekicks. I think it's the greatest role. They didn't have to kiss the girl or anything when I was a kid, and so I always liked those guys.
And we all need it. We all need it now more than ever, the levity. That's why we love you. That's why you're so beloved. We got to run. Thanks so much, Cheech. And DBL Nation, you can stream Maya and the Three on Netflix now. Thank you, Cheech. We'll be right back.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Plenty of questions have come out of the more than 2,000-page infrastructure bill. One THV11 Verify viewer asked, is it true there is some sort of driving tax or fee that you'll have to pay each year based on your vehicle's mileage and how much you've driven that year included in President Biden's Build Back Better plan? This claim and similar ones have made their rounds all over social media. So let's verify. Our sources, the bill itself, Michelle Nellenbach from the Bipartisan Policy, and Scott Hardin with the Arkansas Department of Finance and Administration. Under Section 13,002, it states the National Motor Vehicle Per Mile User Fee Pilot Program is completely voluntary. The first objective of the program is to test the design, acceptance, implementation, and financial sustainability of a National Motor Vehicle Per Mile User Fee.
So instead of paying at the pump for a gallon, you would pay based on the amount of miles you put on your car. And so the provisions in the bill are to allow folks to opt into a pilot program, an experiment, basically, to see how it would work.
Scott Harden with DFA confirms their motor vehicle team has also not received any outreach from the federal government requesting they plan implementation of a mileage-based fee. He goes on to say any move to create a nationwide fee based on mileage would have to be established through new, separate legislation. We would certainly alert Arkansans if we received any indication this is a possibility. So we can verify this claim is false. This pilot program is included in President Biden's infrastructure bill, but it's totally voluntary, so there is not a requirement to pay a mileage fee. The only way to create a nationwide mileage tax would be to pass a new bill.
It's not unusual for current and former presidents to wish supporters a happy holiday season. But an online postcard that shows former President Donald Trump in a tuxedo is raising a lot of eyebrows on social media. The card, which we're blurring because of its explicit nature, was retweeted thousands of times, including by some prominent people who are verified on Twitter. So let's verify. Is the Christmas card claiming to be from former President Trump real? Our sources are Getty Images, Photo Forensics, and the official Donald Trump merchandise store. The former president is selling holiday merchandise on his website, and his Save America website links to this card, which is not the card that's going viral. No one within the Trump organization has shared the doctored card, and his spokesperson confirmed to PolitiFact it was fake. So, no, the Christmas card claiming to be from former President Trump is not real. Verify traced the original image back to 2019, when former President Trump met Queen Elizabeth. An analysis using photo forensic software showed the former president's tuxedo was edited to make part of the explicit imagery. Many of those who shared the card have since deleted their post. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. So if you received or asked to receive a package from a stranger and ship it to someone else, don't do it. We can stop right here. It's time for Security Alert, sponsored by LifeLock. Reshipping scams are trending. Victims are unaware that they are breaking the law by transporting stolen merchandise. Scammers target victims through job and dating sites and convince them to receive packages that are illegal. If you receive a package that you suspect might be a reshipping scam, do not send it to another address. Report it immediately. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-419-0131 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. Somebody asks you to do something and ship a package? Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Just be lazy.
I don't even ship my own packages.
Absolutely. All right, guys, before we go, we do have some sad news. Singer Mike Nesmith has died. The Monkees frontman got his start in the group in the 60s and even helped launch MTV. Wow. His family released a statement saying, "With infinite love, we announce that Michael Nesmith has passed away this morning in his home, surrounded by family, peacefully, of natural causes." He was 78 years old.
It's a heck of a life.
Heck of a life. I thought we were going to a silent break. We'll see you guys Monday. Have a great weekend.